Hey guys, I'm Rich from Neo, and today we're unboxing the Motorola One 5G. Motorola One is Motorola's brand for Android One smartphones, so they have a pretty stock Android experience, although honestly it's not all that different from the rest of their smartphones because they always have that, that near stock experience. All their special features comes from the Moto app, so it is what it is. So these are the One series. A lot of them are kind of what I would call specialty phones. So like they have the One macro, and so like that has a macro camera, and that's the big thing with that one. So this is the One 5G, and it's all about 5G at a lower price point. So it's all about coming in at under $500. So like it's like. There aren't many 5G phones right now for under $500, but this is one of them. So they actually did this with the Edge, and like if you look at the specs of this device, it's actually kind of similar to what the Edge originally was, because when they announced the Edge and the Edge Plus earlier this year, and that was like their triumphant return to flagship devices because Motorola hadn't made one in so long, and the Edge Plus, had 256 gigs of storage, 12 gigs of RAM, totally specced out. And then you look at the Edge, and the Edge Plus is Verizon only. So if you weren't on Verizon, you had to get the Edge. And that thing was supposed to have 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs, so like a third of the RAM. So they ended up boosting it to 6 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage before launch. Now this one actually has 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. It also has a Snapdragon 765, just like the Edge. It has a 6.7-inch 90 hertz display, just like the Edge. So there's a lot that's similar there. And when they launched the Edge, by the way, they launched it at $499. It's a $699 phone, but it was on sale for $499. So now this one is under $500, right? It's got 4 cameras, 48 megapixel main sensor, f1.7. And then it's got an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then it's got a 5 megapixel macro lens and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So the macro lens actually has a ring around it with a light. And the idea behind that is that if you're trying to take a picture up close or something, you go like this, you might be blocking the light by getting that close. So now it has a light on it, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, the 2 megapixel depth sensor is useless. It's one of those things that it's a cheap way for Motorola to say that it's a quad lens camera. This is an AT&T model. This device is coming to AT&T and Verizon, and so I'm not going to be able to use it on my personal phone number. Motorola does a lot of device exclusives these days. Like the Edge Plus was Verizon exclusive. Last year's Razr was Verizon exclusive. They do a lot of Verizon exclusives, actually. Like I think the Moto Z3, Verizon exclusive. Probably even the Moto Z4. They love Verizon. This one I don't think it's available unlocked. The new Razr is AT&T and T-Mobile, and they have an unlocked model. And when they don't send me an unlocked model, it makes it super hard to do my job. Because I have to carry this around with me, but I also can't put my SIM card in. Like if I get a phone to review, I want to live in the device. That's going to be the phone that I carry around for the entire time that I'm reviewing it. The only phone I carry around. But that's not the case here. In fact, it can't even be my primary phone because it's not an unlocked device. Motorola does tend to make it very hard to do my job, probably more than any other company that sends out hardware. So anyway, let's get this open. All right. So this one is blue. This is Oxford blue is the color. That might be the only color it comes in. Actually, I'm not sure. Ooh, that's actually quite nice. What's interesting? They sent me a Netflix gift card. I don't even know how much it's worth. It doesn't say, but they sent a Netflix gift card along with this one, and it's meant to make it easier to to test out the display. It was a little gift that came. The last unit that Motorola sent me, it came with a Spotify gift card. So that's kind of fun. Take a look at the device here. It's quite nice. It actually kind of reminds me of the Edge that had that has the rainbow colored reflections in it. Okay, so we can actually boot this up in the meantime. It does have a fingerprint sensor on the side, so that's one thing that it doesn't have is an in-display fingerprint sensor. So it's not the exact same display panel as the Edge and Edge Plus. While it's booting up, we can take a look at what else is in the box. All right. I did already try to unlock this device. Sometimes a company sends an AT&T unit and you get lucky and you can unlock it through AT&T's portal, but that's just not the case here. So we do have a charger in the box. I don't know what there's a yeah. I believe there's a 20-watt charger, so maybe that's what this means. I don't know. It's either 20 or 18, so who knows. Anyway, there's also obviously a charging cable in here, and we're going to leave this stuff in the box because why not? I don't think any of it is particularly important. A little bit of paperwork there. All right, and this should be booted up. All right, so we're just about ready to go here. I was just setting this up, and there's a bunch of app suggestions here that we don't want. Oh, are you going to make this hard to... Okay. I don't know if this is from AT&T or Motorola, but it's bad. Okay, so I'm guessing it's AT&T. All right. Transfer content, no thanks. We have actual services for that. God, all this AT&T garbage is just garbage. You know, let's set up and transfer. Can I deny this? I'm going to deny this stuff. It needs the following permissions because we're going to skip it. Yeah. I mean, it's just that kind of stuff reminds me of the old days when, like, you remember when AT&T and Verizon had their own GPS apps. See, this is the other thing. I hate how we have to have tutorials for navigations because I've used a phone before. But yeah. Okay. But yeah, they used to have their own. Remember, like VZ Navigation, you have to pay. Yeah, you used to have to pay like $9.99 a month, and then Google Maps came out; it was free. You know, like that stuff. Like to copy your data. Like I understand a lot of people buy a new phone and they have the salesman help copy their stuff, but like seriously, you know, everything should come over, like your contacts and your photos should just come over from your Google account. It shouldn't be that deep. And like that's how it works here. All my phone numbers and stuff are already on here and stuff. You know, the Moto app, like I said, this is good stuff over here. This is where Motorola keeps all their additional features. And of course, we want to turn off notifications because that's a brutal sound. But yeah, so this is probably my favorite part of Motorola phones because they keep their it's not bloatware. They keep it simple. You know, it stays out of your way unless you want it. You know, so we have stuff like Moto Actions, Moto Display. You know, this app actually started out with Moto Voice, which was a thing back when Google owned Motorola, and it was so good. That was back before Google Assistant. You know, back when like Google had Google Now and they didn't really have a real voice assistant. They had Motorola had Moto Voice, and it was so good. It also had early iterations of far-field voice recognition, so you could say like okay, Moto X, you know, good night, and then it would put your phone on Do Not Disturb until the morning when you would say, okay, Moto X, good morning, yeah, and then it would turn. It was really good, but then Google Assistant came out, and Moto Voice kind of became a shell of what it once was, and it went away. So back to what we actually have here, Moto Actions. This is some. You know, little shortcuts. Flip for Do Not Disturb, pick up for silence, which is a good one, by the way. When the ringer is on, you pick it up and it stops ringing. You know, but so that's I like that one because I hate ringtones. Any and all ringtones. I think all phones should be set to vibrate by default, and you know you should be forced to use them on vibrate all the time. You know, so you see there's a bunch of different, you know, actions here. Lift to unlock. Look at that's facial recognition at the bottom there. We got Moto Display, which is some good stuff. There's not a lot there, but that peak display is useful. It's almost like an always-on display, but it kind of fades in and out. It's cool. And then we have Moto Game Time, which is actually also pretty good. If we go into settings down here, they'll see there's a bunch of stuff. I hit the wrong thing. It's not that. Maybe it's under Learn More. But it gives you easy access to tools and settings that enhance your gaming experience, right? There's the toolkit, so that pops up when you're playing games. I believe it also blocks notifications, something that's also super useful when you're playing games. So that's all the stuff in the Moto app. And the best part about the Moto app is that it just keeps all this stuff out of settings, which settings is not where you want this stuff to show up. And that's where pretty much every other OEM puts it. You see, we do have a lot of AT&T bloatware. Boom Beach, Bubble Island 2. If I'm not mistaken, some of this stuff was suggested as an app to install, and I did uncheck those boxes, but yeah, that's what we got, and we're gonna uninstall. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. No, surely we could drag it to. Okay. a lot of other phones obviously just have that pop up that say uninstall, and it sometimes gets a little confusing going between different phones. AT&T Pro Tech, AT&T Cloud, AT&T Smart Wi-Fi, Bleacher Report, Call Protect, DC Universe, Device Help, GOT Conquest, I guess that's Game of Thrones, NBA, My AT&T, Mobile Security, Pluto TV, Setup and Transfer, Visual Voicemail, Shutterfly, Trulia, I believe HBO Max, so that might actually be something I had. Great Big Story, I think 1-800-Flowers, AMC Theaters. That's all the bloatware that you have on this device. So Motorola does a lot of work to keep bloatware off the device, and then AT&T just goes and screws it all up for them. Wow, look at all that garbage. And man, I mean, you just want to spend a lot of time getting rid of all of it. When you set up the device, but that's AT&T for you, and that's why I prefer an unlocked device, even if I'm buying, even if it's available for my carrier, which this phone is not. Dual front-facing cameras, which is cool. Okay, that's always nice. You do get a wide angle, so it's we got to go through all the pop-ups, which are super annoying when you on any camera, but yeah, so you could get the ultra wide, and then they're better for group shots. But if you're a selfie stick type of person, that makes the selfie stick a little less necessary. And then, like I said, we have that camera, over on the bottom. I should say the rear. You have the macro camera, which actually has the ring on it. So now, if I say macro here, we should be able to see, it's automatic, and this just lights up that bottom, and that tells you that's right there. So that's the ring right on the bottom that you can use to light it up. And just the idea is that when you're covering something, you might be blocking it. You're blocking your light source by having the phone so close to it. That's the whole idea of a macro shot, is to have the camera close to it. So now you have that light, and that should light up your subject. That's about it. That's the Motorola One 5G, which is a very pretty phone. I do like the idea of the ring around the macro camera, although I can't say that I often use a macro sensor. A macro sensor is as many macro shots as I end up taking, but so that'll be interesting to play around with and test out. And of course, you have that 48 megapixel main sensor that has quad pixel technology, so that's so you get a 12 megapixel image, and it combines 4 pixels into one, and you get better low light performance for that. So, decent camera setup, and really what this is all about, again, 5G for under $500. It's funny, this actually just says cellular network not available for voice calls. So maybe, did they actually send me a phone that's not activated on a network I don't use? Like I said, out of all the companies that send hardware, Motorola makes it the hardest for me to do my job. But I'll sort that out. So anyway, guys, I'll have a review on this. Possibly, I suppose in about a week when the reviews embargo lifts. So I'll have more then. So stay tuned, guys. I'm Rich from Neowin. Have a great night.